Frak, this podcast, come and listen to us talk about Battlestar Galactica. It's a show that we're talking about. Hello, interwebs, and welcome to the Frak, this podcast. I am your stupider host, Jesse Gender, and I am joined, as always, by...
See, I don't know what to do with that. If you'd said dumb, I could have. If you'd said dumber, I could have said, "So I'm just dumb then." But you
Yeah.
you didn't, so I don't know what to do with that.
you could just say you're stupid. It's fine.
I mean, that still puts me better than you. So
I mean, we're talking about them. I had Jupiter today, so was that rhyme? Guys go to Jupiter to get more stupider. Is the rhyme is where I'm pulling that from?
we're going back to grade school. Okay,
Mm, Girls
sure,
go to
why not?
Venus to get more knowledge. How's that go? How's the rhyme go? Knowledge.
Girls go
Guys
to
go
college to get
get
more
more
knowledge.
knowledge.
Boys go to Jupiter to
Stupider,
get more stupider.
That's what it is. See, it never made sense to me, but I could never make it. It was like guys go to Jupiter to get more stupid, or girls go to Venus to get them some penis.
I've got my own, so I'm set actually.
How are you, Vera?
Ah, yeah, I'm just kind of exhausted.
Yeah.
Um, just too much going on personally, globally.
Yeah.
Hmm.
It's great. It's great. Yeah, well, I'll start off by being hot takes here. I saw three things actually that you suggested. Not to me directly, but indirectly through other stuff, and not suggested. Some of it you hated. Anyways, I watched since I last saw you. I watched The Resident, the Netflix
Yeah,
show. Thought it was okay. Didn't like it.
fuck
It
you.
it was way too repetitious. Like everyone, it's like they're repeating themselves so many times, saying the same things, and it felt like the Netflix thing of having to write it for people who aren't looking at the screen, but I was. So I'm just like, why are they saying the same things like 10 times? And it kind of annoyed me. Um, it also feels like a show that wasn't meant to be binged either. Like it felt like it should have been a week to week show because some of that repetition was between episodes, and like I just watched that episode, I got it. Um, the other one was, and I'm not giving him a pass because fuck Aziz Ansari, but I watched his movie, the one with Keanu Reeves.
Fucking hated that movie, man.
It was fine. I
It
didn't
was
hate it.
shit.
I mean, I'm not saying it was great, but I watched it. I was like, it's fine. Keanu Reeves is fine. It was fine. Like, yeah, it has like the really dumb like, oh, if millionaires could just walk a mile in our shoes thing, they would understand, which is utter bullshit. But otherwise, it was fine. And to be fair, a fuck Aziz Ansari, he was also part of that fucking whatever festival.
Yeah,
But
the Riyadh Comedy
yeah,
Festival.
so
But besides the fact that he got Me Too'd before that.
yes, exactly. So like I'm not giving him a pass, but the movie itself, fine. To be fair, I didn't choose it. I watched it with my partner because she was interested in it, and but I was just like, it was fine.
All
Um,
right.
and then the other thing I watched was The Roses, which you reviewed, and I agree with your review. It was solid. Didn't love the ending, but it was solid. I won't spoil it for people who haven't seen it. Didn't
Ha-
adore the ending, but the rest of it was really good.
have you seen the previous version of
No,
that?
I want to. I know
I
how it
would,
ends too from your review, so.
yeah, well, yeah, I did end up spoiling that in my review, but like I would recommend it. It ends better. I think aside from the endings, they're probably about comparable.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I enjoyed it. I thought it was a really fun, enjoyable movie. But yeah, the ending was a bit, without spoiling too much, a little bit cruel, unnecessarily cruel. But
Yeah.
yeah,
And like it's already a dark comedy, but it still feels off.
yeah, it's a
Yeah.
little off. I think part of spoilers. Skip ahead 30 seconds here for listeners. I'll try and still be vague, but if you care, you can skip ahead 30 seconds. I think what makes it too cruel to me is that like I do ultimately like them, and I'm cheering for them a little bit in this version. I don't know what the other version is, but there's a
Oh,
part of
you're
me that's
you're
like,
not you're not rooting for these two to make it work in the other
Yeah,
version.
I think that's the kind of difference maybe then, because in this one I was watching this and I'm like, man, this just I want them to figure it out. And they do at the end, and then it's a knife pull right at the last second there. Which feels a little
Yeah.
cruel. So
Yeah. No, I'd say that's a key difference
hmm
between the two.
yes.
Um, I saw a couple of things since I talked to you last. I saw Death on the Nile.
The new one?
Yes.
Yeah, it was fine.
I, I watched that with my boyfriend. The word I came away from it was overwrought.
Yes.
Um,
Yes.
and I have a very simple explanation for listeners and viewers as to that. So it's this particular version of Hercule Poirot is already notorious for having the most absurd mustache ever committed to film. In this movie, they gave the mustache a tragic backstory.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Not a joke, not a metaphor. They literally opened the movie with that.
Yeah, I forgot about that, man. Uh
It set the tone
it
for
did,
the
it
whole
did.
thing.
I mean, the rest of the movie is fine. I mean, you got
It's
Wonder
okay.
Woman fucking there acting it up. Yeah.
Look, here's the thing. It's funny because compared to, say, Murder on the Orient Express, either version of that, which have like, these really star-studded casts of, really established people and people, about to hit it big. And Death on the Nile is just a long list of people whose career cratered either shortly before or shortly after this movie came out.
Oh yeah, because you also got what's his face in there, Mr. Cannibal Man.
You've got Armie Hammer, you've got Russell Brand,
Mm-hmm.
you've got Gal Gadot.
Very,
Yeah,
very, very cursed movie.
a bit, little
Yeah.
bit.
Yeah. Well, I wonder if any of them think they have some unfinished business in Hollywood.
Oh.
Oh, speaking of which, we are talking about the comments from Unfinished Business now. Your favorite episode, the boxing episode. Um, this is one comment is from Lizard King Slowinski 4031. Unfinished Business adds to the humor of Jesse bravely claiming that season 3 would be better. Sure, cool ideas get thrown around there in the back half of the series, but a lot of the annoyances for Vera get whole episodes worth of time, like in this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Where's my jetpack says, yeah, I really hate Lee and Kara in this episode. Kara, whatever you want to say. And not just because it's a romantic subplot. I just hate the way they're behaving. And not in an interesting way, in an intensely irritating way. I like Adama and Rosalind, though. Quite a bit, actually. I agree with that one. Partially, their scenes are about more than them. There's more of an exploration that shows larger themes with them while also just being quite sweet. I would agree with that. I liked, and I said it during that review, I liked the Adama Rosalind stuff.
It is the one I am the most okay with.
Hmm. Um, and then there was Romler, always with the interesting behind the scenes note, says Romler says all these flashbacks were filmed in the gap between seasons with the intention that they do a whole Lost type thing of gradually revealing what happened there across the whole season after we got a bunch of ominous hints about it, which to me sounds like the most tedious, frustrating fucking thing. So I'm very glad they instead knocked all the flashbacks out in this one episode, however painful it is to sit through in the moment.
I
Yeah.
mean, I suppose they could have also looked at it and gone, I know we should waste not want not, but maybe this footage isn't good. Maybe we should just throw it away.
Yeah. I mean, like, yeah. It's not sustainable on Lost because there's no real mystery about what happened on the planet, really. Like, there's not a
Yeah.
lot. Like, Lost works because we're kind of revealing more about these characters and learning more about them as we go through the flashback and what's informing their present. Whereas Battlestar Galactica, we kind of have a decent enough idea of these characters already. So,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like, look, if the options were either unfinished business or they spread it across the season, I'm glad they did what they did. I say those shouldn't have been the only two options, but if in theory they were, this was better.
Yes.
I'll grant that.
Hmm.
Um, oh, you shifted topics before I told you about the other movie I saw.
Oh, I didn't give a shit. So,
tough. Um, I saw an animated sci-fi film called Gondahar.
Oh, I've heard of this. It's like a French one, if I recall.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the same director as Fantastic Planet, which is the better
Mm-hmm.
known of
Mm-hmm.
his stuff. I like this better than Fantastic Planet, actually. And it is it is very strange, but in a way that I vibe with quite well.
Mm-hmm.
And like the one thing that it did that I'm like, I've never seen this, and this is incredible. It does something with its villain. This is a little bit spoilery, but it happens midway through. This isn't like ending spoilers. But like when our hero character goes and confronts, what he understands to be the villain that's causing all the problems, the villain basically says, I really can't be bothered with this. Could you come back and kill me another time? Well, how long do you want me to wait? Oh, about 1,000 years. No, I'm going to be dead by then. Oh, don't worry. I'll put you in suspended animation. You come out of that. I'm sure by then I'll be done what I'm doing now, and I probably won't care that you want to kill me.
That's kind of fun.
It's amazing.
That's really fun. It reminds me, I watched uh a few weeks ago. I think it's called, was it Tokyo Godfathers? Which
Yes.
speaking of animation, I loved that one. Like, its depiction of the trans woman character is not perfect, is not aged like I like perfectly, but I do really love her character quite a lot. She is wonderful. It is probably going to be a now recurring staple in my Christmas movie slot.
Oh, nice.
It's a very sweet. Have you seen it?
No, I've been meaning to forever.
Without spoiling, it is about three homeless people in Japan who find a baby and then go on a journey to try to find the baby's mother. And you obviously learn about the three of them. They kind of have little vignettes across the city as they go through, and you learn more about their history and who they are. And one of the three is a trans woman, and the movie again has not aged perfectly in how it depicts her. But she's also fucking amazing and one of my favorite trans characters I've ever seen put just great. So like some of the language, and I think like the translations where I watched it with a friend of mine who she's Korean but she understands some Japanese. Um, and she was explaining to me like the forgive me for using a slur here. They use the F. Well, I won't use it, but they use the F slur to refer to her in the
Ah.
subtitles. But in Japanese, it's more of like cross-dresser, but but as a slur. So it's very weird some of the translation things there. But it's the other characters kind of doing that like endearingly insulting, like insultingly, like they all kind of like vaguely hate each other, but in a we hate each other, but we actually love each other kind of way. So it's like
Hmm.
you have to kind of like if you're very sensitive to like depictions needing to be like perfect on how it's aged, the movie has not perfect in that regard, but it does have some really great stuff. So and it always validates her as a woman. It never like some characters will be like, oh, she's just a guy in the dress, but like she is always firm in that she's a woman, and the movie very clearly agrees with that, even if it will have other characters take digs at her that's otherwise. So.
Cool.
Yeah, so very good movie. Very sweet. Very Christmassy too. So,
Maybe
oh,
maybe I'll get to it one of these days.
well, speaking of religious stuff, let us
Oh,
get back.
you're not moving on from comments yet, are you?
Oh, did you have another comment?
Oh, okay. Let's
Please.
talk about the fact that I talked about doing this,
Hmm.
but I clipped me yelling
Oh, yes, yes,
at
yes.
Ronald D. Moore about sexualizing every female character and yelling at him to go to therapy. And I clipped it in such a way that I did not identify what the show was or who the creator was. And I put that up multiple places.
I saw.
The response was delightful.
A lot of people saying Rick Berman, which was
Rick
the.
Berman was a very heavily favored guest. Lots of people said Rick Berman. Also getting plenty of, do you have any idea how little that narrows it down?
Yep.
I'm just gonna kind of burn through these. Not gonna lie, this is low key my reaction to The Social Network.
Yeah.
$20 on Rick Berman. We had Stephen Moffat got mentioned.
Oh yeah, Stephen Moffat would definitely fit that bill quite well.
Hang on, let me pull it up from one of the other places I posted it. Uh, more Berman,
Like I said, I know Berman was the big one.
Berman. One battle after another was somebody's guess.
Interesting. I mean, I could see that. Its depiction of I mean, I have issues with that movie. I think it's a really good movie, but like some of my issues with that. Uh, quick, this is a quick aside because I don't know where I'm gonna put it if I want to put it anywhere. So I'll just put it here for listeners while Vera's doing that. My one big issue with that movie, well, there's a few that I have, and this is like a minor thing. In the movie, there's a sequence where they're looking for Leonardo DiCaprio's daughter, and so they bring in her three friends who are like the police officers bring in her three friends who are a uh, girl of color, a cis white girl, and then a gender fluid, like non-binary character. And
Hmm.
and guess who the one who squeals on her is?
I'm going to assume the queer character,
Yes.
of course.
Yes. And I was talking with friends about it, and they were like, well, like the non-binary character might have face added like pressure from the police. And I'm like, yes, I could understand that because they are putting pressure on the kids, but like also the character of color would have that. And also it's showcasing like all three kids are facing the same amount of police pressure. And it's clear like the cis white girl is kind of the more like normie one of the three, and I'm like, she would be the one to squeal in my book. So that was like one issue, and there's a couple other things that I have with the movie, but it's a good movie. I just have like small issues with it here and there.
Some of the other guesses were Joss Whedon
Yeah,
and Ryan Murphy.
yeah. Also, yeah. Oh God, Ryan fucking Murphy. Jesus Christ.
Uh,
Uh,
like here's the thing, I don't hold too much against Ryan Murphy because I feel like he knows exactly what he is. It's easy to get infuriated with somebody like Ronald Moore or somebody like Joss Whedon because I think they
they
very
think they're
much
more
come across
profound.
as thinking they are better than they are. I
Hmm.
think Ryan Murphy knows exactly what he is. Criticize it all day long, but I think he knows exactly what he puts out into the world.
The one thing I'll give Ryan Murphy is he helped get Pose made, and Pose is fantastic. So he at least did one good thing. So yeah. All right.
I
Now
like
we
the
can talk.
second season of American Horror Story.
Sure. I've never seen it, so I'll take your word at it. All right. Well, speaking of American Horror Story, I don't know. Eye of Jupiter. We're talking about the episode Eye of Jupiter, which is part one of a two-parter. We I start off with a recap with the previously on because I just go, oh good, it's more love triangle stuff. I knew as soon as the previously on happened, Vera, you'd be excited because it just was going through all the love triangle stuff.
Yep.
We get into the actual plot, and we are now on the algae planet. The planet from last episode where they went to try and harvest more food and make some food paste. It is day 14 of them harvesting on here, and they got a little base set up. We have a bunch of people there.
I mean,
Tyrell,
you say base. It's a
yeah, it's a little.
glorified tent.
Yeah, they have a few tents around or whatever. Um, Tyrrell is there, Chief Tyrrell is there, Anders is there. They sort of make jokes about like getting stuck on this hot fudge planet, which was such an interesting way to describe a planet. I liked that wording. It was kind of fun. Um,
I mean, the way it went was that like Sam was Anders was complaining about like, yeah, I just hope it tastes better than it smells or whatever
yeah.
because they've been harvesting this stuff. And
Yeah.
yeah, the chief was thinking like, well, maybe next time we'll find a hot fudge planet.
Hmm. And then we have a raptor coming in that basically lands really, like, gets in really fast and gets a very hot shot pilot, obviously Starbuck kind of
Yeah,
maneuver.
drawing an awful lot of attention.
Hmm. We jump over to Dee and Apollo, who are inside the tent, and Dee's like, "Oh, it's Starbuck. It's clearly she's the one, playing reckless with the landing." And Dee is kind of very snidely pointing out, "So, oh, it's crazy how she keeps landing on the top of the pilot rotation. Come down here." And Apollo makes an excuse like, "Oh, Donut's running off of a coin flip. She probably thinks she has bad luck." And Dee clearly does not buy this excuse. And Apollo says, "Yeah, I gotta go. I should go meet her."
Mm-hmm.
So Dee is clearly not buying Apollo's bullshit.
Nor should she.
Uh-huh. But Apollo heads out to meet Starbuck, and there's a couple things that intercut here, but I'll just stick with the whole scene and go to the other ones in a minute. They start making out in the Raptor, and it's clear that like Apollo's the one who is, getting her assigned there so that he can come and make out with her. Um, and yeah, and so Apollo, you're obviously very much loving this, Vera. Apollo and says like starts like saying this is insane. We need to do something about this. And Starbuck says what like divorce. And Starbuck does not want to get a divorce. She says marriage is a sacrament. It's not a pyramid game. I'm not breaking the vows in the eyes of our gods. And he says you're breaking your vows every time we do this. And she says no, divorce is different. This is just bending the rules. Um, and Apollo says, every time I look at my wife, I see my guilt reflected in her eyes, and I don't want to cheat anymore. So they basically says, so basically I think Apollo says, I won't, or Starbucks says, I won't divorce and you won't cheat. So where does that leave us? Trapped, says Apollo.
I mean, first of all, he is cheating.
Yes.
Like, let's be God. Ah, I hate this scene, and I hate these two. I hate these two people. I hate these human beings. They can both drop dead. I fucking hate what this show has done to these two characters. Fuck. God damn it. I legit hate them as human beings right now.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying I have to like everything that a character does, but like it's not just that I think they're terrible human beings. They're terrible, annoying, and boring human beings. Like this is the exact this is one of the many reasons why I have problems with romantic subplots is they are so fucking predictable.
Mm-hmm.
There are so few tracks for a romantic subplot to take. I find them so fucking boring.
Mm-hmm. I will at least give, and I agree with you on all your points. I will at least say I found the idea that Starbuck like views marriage as like a big vow that she can't break. At least is somewhat interesting. At least it tells us something a
I
little
don't
bit about
think
her
it is
character.
at all. Have you met people like that? I have. They're
Oh,
fucking pieces of shit. It was one more thing that lowered my opinion. The only thing that makes this vaguely interesting is something that Anders says later, which makes this come across as less as a naked excuse from her that actually ends up revealing or at least hinting towards something that might actually be part of her dynamic with Sam, which is the about the only thing that I find mildly interesting in this entire fucking thing.
I don't disagree. And I want to be clear. I'm not saying I think like people who are who have that view on like they'd rather like they're fine with cheating but not getting a divorce. Like I'm not saying that those people aren't pieces of shit. I don't disagree. I'm just saying at least it's something interesting about her character. It like reveals something about her in like points at her religious sense that like we've touched upon, but we haven't really delved into like that she is does have a more religious upbringing. So I at least will touch upon that.
Yeah. And
Like I
and
want to be
and
clear, I'm not saying it's like, oh, this is like some
oh
good
no, no,
thing.
no. I didn't think you were saying that. I'm just saying I don't find it interesting because I don't find that interesting in real life either.
Yeah.
Um
I
like
just find an interesting thing to remind us about her character, I guess is the thing. Interesting is grading on a curve here, to be fair.
this curve is in the sewer as far
Fair.
as I'm concerned. And like with Apollo having his whole like he's ready to divorce his wife, but is like, oh, but I don't want to do like, okay, you're already making plans to go out of your way to make out with Starbuck, and your wife fucking knows. Like
Hmm.
this idea of like, oh, it has to be official. I need to leave my wife and be with you. Dude, your marriage is fucked whether you choose to officially end it or not.
Yes.
Like this whole I hate them both. They are terrible people and not in a way that's interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, we then cut over to Callie and the chief. And like they're just
Oh,
chatting. Yes.
There's one really funny moment, actually, because of some of the intercutting,
Mm-hmm.
where you have we know that Starbuck and Apollo are starting to make out like over in the Raptor, and the chief kind of glances at the Raptor like it's off in the distance, and you see him, that you just hear like this huh, and like the camera cuts and like it's two women lifting a box, but
Yeah.
there's just him looking at the Raptor, and there's this more feminine voice going huh. I actually kind of lost it at that. I'm like, whoever edited that, mwah, chef's kiss, beautiful.
It was very, very funny. Anyways, he's chatting with Callie, but then he looks off into the distance and he hears weird sounds. He feels like drawn into the wilderness. I just put the note, it's the weird noise from the Star Trek planets. Like you ever watching the original series Star Trek, whenever they go down to the planets like that, ooh,
Yeah,
it's kind of that noise. It was like, oh, he hears that noise. It's kind of the same vibe. Which,
yeah.
which honestly, I wouldn't put it past the show to be making an overt reference, especially consider Ronald D. Moore is a writer on Deep Space Nine and Next Generation. Um, but anyways, we then jump over to the Cylon base star, and Baltar has a dream of Hera, and then he wakes up and he hears Hera crying. So
And he's
he
he's sporting full beard at this point.
full crazy man beard. And he wanders through the halls of the base star and he finds Hera, her crib, with, as we'll later learn, Boomer, the original Boomer. And she tells Baltar that Hera's not well. And Baltar goes to comfort her and says, like, I'm here for you, that sort of thing. So,
Yeah.
yep.
That
Uh,
comfort the baby,
the
not
baby.
Boomer.
Yeah, not Boomer. The baby, yes. Though I'm sure Baltar would not be above trying to do that. Chief continues to walk through the wilderness and he finds a very strange rock formation. Actually, it was a very cool looking rock formation. I like the look of it. Um, and he goes inside and he finds a strange temple with a big empty room in it and a big circular pillar in the middle with the image of like what looks like an eye, but it's like a blue, yellow, and red sort of circles.
Yep.
Anything to say about this, Vera?
I know that they are trying. There's like they make a point of having the camera linger on, what is clearly a point in the rock formation where the sun is coming through.
Mm-hmm.
That doesn't change the fact that there's clearly just lights, like
No,
electric
yeah,
lights
yes.
lit up and active in this thing. And like I'm sure we're meant to think that it's like either the sun reflecting on stuff or like it's a mirror system, like it's Indiana Jones or something. But I'm just going, who turned on the lights? Like what is going on? My brain wasn't going ancient temple. My brain was going electric lighting setup.
Fair enough. I was more referring to the picture of the eye.
It's an eye.
Okay. And
Dude, it's prophecy shit. You know I don't care.
I know, but I was just I was leaving it open for you to maybe say anything that you may have noticed, but you did not, so then I will let it go. Um, I've mentioned it before. Anyways, we'll find out soon enough. Anyways, we then cut back after the opening credits where everyone is in the temple now. Everyone's sort of checking it out and exploring it. They got people like taking pictures and everything. And the chief is calling Rosalind. And he says, it's carbon dating, says it's 4,000 years old, which lines up when the 13th tribe left Earth. I recognize it. This is the chief saying this. I recognize it as the Temple of Five. I recognize it from my father's drawings. It was an important part of our faith, well, his faith. I just recognize it. So, um,
Yeah. Now I am gonna note this.
mhm.
It does not feel coincidental that this is the Temple of Five and we have five unknown Cylons that they're making a whole big fucking deal out of.
Yes, that is correct. Well, I mean, it'll be pointed out later on a little bit by Deanna, being like she's going down to the planet later on to see because she wants to learn the fate who the final five are, sort of thing.
Yes, but I'm
So,
saying I noted it now.
yeah.
Because sometimes I notice some things. You bitch.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. Just not the important ones.
I
No,
start making the important shit. Start making it interesting. Maybe I'll notice it.
yeah, well, don't worry, it'll be next episode. We'll draw it out. Anyways, Adama points out like, oh, the Eye of Jupiter. I heard that's supposed to be a marker left behind to mark the way to Earth. But as they're talking about that, they hear four Cylon base ships are jumping in. Base stars are jumping in. So we go over to the CIC, and the rest of the fleet jumps away except for the Galactica. But first off, Rosin notes if it really is a marker to Earth, the Eye of Jupiter, they can't let the Cylons have it, and also they need to get their people up off the ground,
Yep.
who are on the planet still. So they have to stick around. But the Cylons aren't launching raiders. In fact, the base ship makes a request to talk. And they pick up the phone, and it is Baltar. He says, "Can't wait I can't tell you what a genuine pleasure it is to hear your voice," to Adama.
What a piece of shit.
Yeah, yeah. My favorite thing, there's a my friends and I in college, we used to watch it all the time because it was so funny. There's a blooper reel for this season. And it's this scene, and it's Adama picking up the phone, and you hear Baltar's voice like, "What a genuine pleasure it is to hear your voice." And Edward James almost just looks at the phone and he goes, "Eat shit and die," and then and then hangs up the phone.
That's probably what I'd have done.
Yeah, it was the funniest thing. It's just like it's like a genuine pleasure to hear your voice. Eat shit and die, and then hang up. It was really, really funny. Uh, so yeah, I mean, accurate response. Accurate response is probably what Adama was feeling at that moment.
Yeah.
We then come back after a commercial break. We have a Cylon Heavy Raider coming over to the Galactica. Roslin is talking to Adama. Roslin's like, I can't believe we're letting Cylons aboard the ship. Adama's like, they must want something. And Roslin says, well, why send Balta? They must know we won't believe a word that he says. And Adama points out, well, he can say whatever he wants. The longer he talks, the more time we have to get our people off the planet. So there's
Yeah.
sort of a strategic move
Which
there.
I like that perspective.
Mm-hmm. So we then see the Cylons who have come aboard the ship, and it is Baltar, a Cavil, Deanna, and Boomer, as we'll see in just a second. And as they're walking through the halls of the Galactica, Head Six shows up and starts talking to Baltar, and she's like, "Feels like old times, doesn't it?" And Baltar points out, "It's like, yeah, I miss it. It feels like home." And Head Six says, "Well, you can't return. If you came back here, they'd toss you out in an airlock." And she also says, if you're one of the final five, these feelings that you're having are just part of your cover. And Baltar says, well, what if I'm human? If I'm a human being after all, this might be the last chance I'll get to see my kind again. So,
Yeah.
mm-hmm,
Head Six just pulling the exact same Head Six shit.
mm-hmm. We then have Athena meeting the Cylons. She's sort of guarding the door to where they're going to have the meeting. And I love Cavill. He sort of looks at her in uniform and says, should we salute? Um, but Athena says to, I think, Ty, who's standing there, it's Boomer. This is Boomer. Like revealing that this is Boomer. And Ty's like, oh, you're the one who shot the old man. You've just lost your visiting privileges. So that leaves Boomer and Athena sort of standing outside together.
And I do like that Athena is able to spot which specific one it is.
Mm-hmm.
I like that as a detail.
It is a nice detail, and it is cool to see because we haven't had these two. They presumably have had scenes together in like when during the Resistance, like the scene on New Caprica. I think they might have had a scene together, but this is really the first time we're getting a good like focus on the two of them as opposing ideas, which are kind of nice. So, we then cut into the meeting.
Wait, was Athena on? I thought Athena was on the ship.
Oh no, you're correct. You're correct. Yeah, Athena never and Boomer
Yeah.
never would have had new Caprica scenes. No, you're right.
No.
You're right. You're right. Yeah. So yeah, no, this is the first. Then this would be the first time they would have met. Then I think.
I think so.
I think maybe they might have met randomly at some other point, but I think this is probably the first time they've
Well,
met.
I mean, I think since the narrative started anyway, because presumably Athena has to have been a branch off of Boomer
Boomer.
because she had all the memories that Boomer had like not
previously.
just implanted memories, but like of her time on Caprica when Athena first showed up on Caprica
Yes.
to get with Hilo. So
Yes.
at some point, I don't know if the show will ever deal with this explicitly, but logically, at some point, they were literally the same person
Yeah.
and
And branched.
forked.
Yeah, it's something that the show I think touches upon a little bit later on. I won't get too far into it, but it's something that I really liked about. There's this book series called the Bobiverse books. I enjoy them. They are a little bit Ready Player One in certain aspects, in that there's a lot of referential humor of like, look, we're referencing Star Trek sort of thing. But they are fun books, and I do enjoy them. But the way that that book works is it starts off with it's called the Bobbyverse because it's this guy who's been had his brain uploaded into a probe 1,000 years after his death, and he can go out and he's like can go out into the universe. But if he wants to do something that requires more manpower, he can duplicate himself. And the duplicates then go off and have their own lives. So it starts off with just one Bob, and then every book they progressively are more branching off from each other to the point where I think like book 4 or 5, he's sort of like, I don't know who these Bobs are fucking weird, and I don't know why they're like that, and presumably they're a branch on my tree somewhere, but I don't know how the fuck they got that way. So it's like you see them slowly changing over time as they branch out, which was a very cool concept for a book. So all starting with one original Bob. So anyways, we then go into the meeting, and Baltar starts by saying, Laura, it's so good to see you. And Cavill says, weapons are hardly necessary. We come in peace, in his sort of sarcastic way. And they basically kind of Cavill basically kind of skips the point. Like, we'll just go to it. Let's just skip to it. We want the Eye of Jupiter. We know you have people on the ground. We know you found the settlement. The only reason you haven't cut your losses is because you have probably found the artifact but haven't retrieved it yet. But Rosalind doesn't admit anything. She just says, we're just not leaving our people behind.
Yeah.
And Cavill doesn't really buy that.
Well,
So,
I like the way he says it. He's like, that is plausible, but yeah, he's like, okay, that's an explanation. I don't buy it, but it's an explanation.
mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Bolthar again also cuts to it too. Is like the chances that we're both here by chance are infinitesimally small. We both want the eye. But Rosalind sort of says, the less this man says, the better this will go. Yeah. And Balthar's like, what? The silence would have blown you out of the sky the second we arrived if it hadn't been for me. And Rosalind just like goes and walks
Yeah,
out.
she just turns to Adama like, "You're good from here, right?" And she just leaves. And
Yeah.
and fucking Baltar is yelling after
It's
her
like, I
like,
saved your life. Like, this is the second time I've lost count.
"Yeah, I've saved your life. I don't know how many times." I'm like, "You absolute piece of shit." Like, this is perfect characterization for
Mhm.
the kind of garbage human being he is, even after, even after he has explicitly betrayed the human race repeatedly,
Mhm.
he's still demanding a thank you. God, you fucking tool.
He
You're the
really is.
worst in a good way,
Yes,
as
yes.
opposed to Paulo and Starbuck right now, who are the worst in a bad way.
Yes, no. We
This is the
we we
difference.
love to hate Baltar. He's such a piece of shit.
Oh, he's the fucking worst.
I'm excited when we watch the original Battlestar Galactica because I haven't seen the show, but the Baltar in that one is the more mustache twirly, like self-important, like scientist guy who's actively working with the Cylons to take them down. He's kind of more akin to my understanding, like more akin to like the old versions of the Master, like your
Mm.
classic Doctor Who, the Master. In that one, which is like this is a good evolution of that character for the reimagined Battlestar Galactica, but I am excited to see that version of Baltar as well. So.
And it just makes me think of the Dr. Smith from the original Lost in Space versus the Netflix version.
Yeah,
I don't know
yeah.
if you ever watched any of
I
that.
I've seen bits and pieces of all of them, the movie, the original show, and the Netflix one, but I haven't sat and watched any of them.
The
Yeah.
movie is glorious trash. But yeah, no, I've seen some of the original TV show. The Netflix show isn't great, but Parker Posey as their version of Dr. Smith is the best thing in that show. And
Hmm.
there's so many layers to what she's doing as opposed to the just always the source of the problems version of Dr. Smith that existed on the TV show.
Yeah, I guess like evolutions of evil villain scientist characters are always the best part of reimagined reimagined shows.
Seems to be. Yeah,
Yeah,
weirdly.
yeah. Even in Doctor Who, if you're considering just the Jodie Whittaker era, I think the Master was probably the best part of her era too, would be my opinion.
Yep.
But mhm.
Yeah. Well, the that and Joe Martin,
Joe
but
Martin, I
yeah.
mean Joe Martin's obviously great as well. Yes. Anyways, back to the meeting. Um, uh, as Rosin goes out, the Cavill basically, well, Deanna makes an offer first, says, "Give us the Eye of Jupiter, and we'll let you go." And then Cavill, apropos of nothing, says, "And we'll throw in Baltar, just sweeten the
But
pot."
Baltar's be like, what? What? I'm improvising. We'll
Yeah,
sweeten the
sweeten the
pot.
pot.
I love that Cavill just flat out like this wasn't like a plan to ditch Baltar. He's just off his head. Hey, you want him? You can have him.
Yeah, and Ty's like, "We're thinking about," and Adam was like, "Definitely, we're thinking about it." And Balder's like, "The
Uh,
fuck, man."
Cavill, also a mostly enjoyable piece of shit.
Yeah, outside of his stuff with Helen,
Yeah.
we'll get Cavill. There's reasons why Cavill becomes one of my favorite characters on the show. We haven't gotten there yet, but we will learn more about Cavill at some point in time. So, yes.
Fucking
Um.
sexual predation. Again, Ron, therapy, please.
Mm-hmm. We then cut outside the meeting to Athena and Boomer talking to each other. And Boomer basically talks to Athena as like, "It's not, this isn't your home anymore." And Athena's like, "I know where my loyalties lie." And Boomer's like, "Oh, well, what if I told you that your daughter is still alive?" And Athena's like, "No, you're lying." And Boomer says, "Well, someone's lying and it's not me. Hera's alive, but she's ill and we don't know why. She's on our base star right now and she was hidden at Laura's school, so she probably means that Roslyn planned the whole thing." Um, and Athena, upset, kind of walks away, and Boomer yells after her, saying, "Like, she let you think that Hera was dead. They don't do that to a person; they do that to a thing." So, yep.
Mm-hmm.
So now Athena knows Hera is alive. So, and is
Dun, dun,
maybe
dun.
questioning her loyalty. Haha.
Bullshit.
Uh-huh. Deanna, then and back in the meeting, Deanna says, "If you try bringing the artifact up from the planet, we'll see what happens." Basically inferring that they'll, start a fight over it. And Adama also says, "Well, if you make any attempt to go to the planet, we'll nuke the planet." And they basically say, "You're bluffing." And he basically says, escort them back to their ship. So basically, we have a good old standoff.
Yep.
Hmm. Down on the planet, we have Apollo and Starbuck, our favorite characters. Um, and they're sort of getting their orders from Adama, basically like, you can't let the Cylons have the eye. You should try and find it because it points the way to Earth, and you have orders to blow it up if it looks like they're going to get it. But then the Cylons jam the wireless at that point.
Yeah.
Um,
We'll also note it gets pointed out that there are no physical descriptions of what the
the
Eye of
eye is,
Jupiter is,
yeah, so they have no
or
idea
if
what they're
it's
even looking for.
what they're looking for, if it's even something that is transportable.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And so they basically go, "We need to defend the temple," and Starbucks like points out, like, "Well, we have 5 Marines, and we're probably gonna need to draft civilians." And Starbuck has an idea. You should use Sam to command the civilians. Because
Mm-hmm.
Sam knows how to work with civilian fighters.
Yep.
Um, so then we cut to Sam, Starbuck, and Apollo talking. Um, and Apollo basically asks Sam to do this. "I need you to lead the civilians." And Sam's like, "What do you mean lead them? Some of these guys have never held weapons. Like, we were guerrilla fighters, which means hit and run tactics. We've never defended a position." Which I think was a good point to point out.
Yep.
Um, and he's like, "We also want us to risk our lives for something we haven't found yet." And Apollo's like, "You don't have to explain every detail." And they kind of start butting heads. And Starbuck's like, "Hey, the major's in charge," talking to Apollo. And Sam's like, "Well, wouldn't want to get between you and your major." And he storms out, and Starbuck says he'll do it, and Apollo says he better. So
Mm-hmm.
just testosterone and all over the place.
Love triangle bullshit.
Yup, 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 yup. Yeah, the only interesting thing about that scene, like I said, is Sam pointing out, like, he the distinction between guerrilla fighting and defending a position, which I found interesting, but that's about it.
Yeah.
We then cut back to the temple where we have Callie and Chief talking, and they're placing C4 on the temple to blow it up if the Cylons ever get in there. And Callie starts talking. He's like, "Hey, I miss Nikki," and she was like, "Yeah, he's on the Galactica. He'll be fine." And he starts talking about, I hated everything about faith when I was growing up. I even used to, I hated my parents' like belief in it. I even used to sneak into my mom's prayer room and would dance around with porn magazines in there, defiling the holiest of holies. Um, and I don't even know how I found this place. I just got the urge to walk here. And Callie said, "Well, you should see yourself. There's a reverence. You even talk softer when you're in here." And he's like, "I feel something in here, something true." And still here I am setting charges on this thing. And the holiest of holies started comparing himself to him dancing around with porn mags. And if my parents could see this, they it would mean a lot to them. And now I'm going to blow it up. So,
Hmm.
which I like this scene. I like that a lot.
It's fine.
I mean,
Like
it's
I'm still like I'm still kind of up and down on how this show deploys religion as a narrative device, not because they've done anything egregious, but because they've been leaning on that since season one, and it's yet to be interesting.
mhm.
So it's like it's not my usual issue with depictions of sci-fi, depictions of religion in sci-fi where they've just stepped in it repeatedly. They haven't, but I am over here going, for as often as you bring this stuff up, I thought you'd have done something with it by now.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. Well, I at least like this point because what I like about it too is it does say a little bit about the chief in that we talk about him going to Cavil at the end of season 2 when he was sort of wrestling with am I a Cylon or not, and him having that whole thing, and him going to Cavil, and I liked that idea of just he doesn't believe in these things and yet he's drawn to it in an interesting way. I don't know. I like that
I
as a
mean,
concept.
honestly, his conflict over something like this is about as it's this kind of thing, which does not happen often, is about as close as this show gets to actually examining relationships with religion,
Hmm.
which is part of my frustration with its use of religion as a narrative device because it is being deployed primarily in two ways. One, as fanaticism on the part of the Cylons, and two, as plot insulation because they just hint that it's the will of God whenever they decide they want the story to go. Like the chief even finding this thing is basically implied to be he was drawn by the will of God for all intents and purposes. It might as well have been. And none of that is stuff that I find particularly interesting. Moments like this, actually examining someone's relationship, and like this was also the case when he had his scene with Cavill, actually examining a person's relationship with a religion rather than just establishing this person's religious, this person isn't. Oh, but this thing happens that maybe is explained by religion. None of that tells me anything about how people actually connect and what this stuff means to them and the messiness that can occur with one's relationship with the divine and with faith and with anything else. This show does shit like this so fucking rarely for how much notions of God come up in it.
Hmm. Yeah, which I wish it would because I do find it interesting when it does. And we got a lot of it in Babylon 5, but less
Yeah,
so
we
here.
did. Holy
Hmm.
shit.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
Uh
I'll just say right now, everything about Babylon 5 is
oh,
better than
oh,
this show.
for sure. 100%. Like even when we get to the end of this, I will for sure be Babylon 5 is better than this show. Like I mean, we'll talk about it when we get to the end of the show, probably when we have our like podcast about it. But this show, Battlestar Galactica, was in my top 10 favorite shows of all time before we watched this because it was always one that I had a lot of fondness for. This it is definitely not there anymore.
Yeah.
Whereas Babylon 5, I don't know if it would have been in my top 10, but it certainly I would make an argument for it. Certainly in my top 10 favorite sci-fi shows of all time.
Yeah.
So yeah.
It's
Um,
it's interesting as a contrast for you since you were the one who had seen
Both.
both of those, finding out, how much deeper
One
Babylon
was.
5 was, and then realizing how much bullshit there was in this one.
And like I said, it's just interesting because there is a lot of stuff. What is interesting though, especially as we'll get into like the last few seasons of the show, I there is a lot in this show that heavily influenced me. We haven't even gotten there yet, but you'll notice it, especially when we get to Caprica. Holy shit! Like the show Caprica will be big influence on me. You will see.
I have
But
no
some of the
doubt.
yeah, the later stuff, and I think even season getting in later in this season, but even into season four you'll see why it's influential on me, but Caprica for sure.
Yeah.
But we'll get
And
there when we get
and
there.
and then of course there was Farscape, which for me was just a reaffirmation that I fucking love this
Oh,
nonsense.
Farscape is great. Farscape is fucking wonderful. So, anyways, let's get back to this show. Uh,
Oh, fine.
we have Gata. Gata points out that he noticed on the Galactica, Gata's talking to Adama and such, and he's like, I noticed there were some anomalies in the radiation belt, and basically he discovered the star they're around is on the verge of going supernova. Could be tomorrow, could be next year, could be next episode even. But one wonders which.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, the star could go supernova at any point, and he kind of points out, it's like, what are the chances that humans and Cylons converge at this exact moment when the star is about to go supernova? And Adama goes, well, I'm not a religious person, so if this is a work of a higher power, they definitely have a sense of humor. So,
Yeah.
hmm
Or, it's the work of authorial contrivance. Either way.
yes,
I mean,
yes, yes.
is that the will of God? Is God just a hack writer who can't
I,
come up with better justification
I
for why
mean,
things happen?
it reminds me of there's a Nabokov of book. The guy who wrote Lolita, he wrote a book called Invitation to a Beheading, I think it is. And it's one of my favorite books because it's about a guy who's like basically a political he's a professor working in a very authoritarian regime that gets more authoritarian as the book goes on, and he gets basically tortured by the end of the book. He's treated like shit, and eventually at the end of the book gets killed by the regime. But as the story goes on, what makes it interesting is he slowly starts to realize, because his professor is like, "Oh, I'm a character in a book, and God is real, and he's an author who fucking hates me." And he's just writing an interesting story. So all this torture that I'm involved in is just a writer writing an interesting story. And it's actually kind of, and he just goes insane because of it. Because he's like, I guess it's nice to know that God is real, but I guess I also know that I'm being tortured because it's just interesting for people. So yeah, it's an interesting book. So
It's the kind of thing that probably would have blown my mind if I read it in high school, and if I read it now, I'd probably go, "Yeah, I heard it."
yeah. No, it's that's kind of a lot of Nabokov stuff. I mean, there's some imagery in it. Like one of my favorite things is that like Nabokov sort of pulls out and like is himself talking about writing the story, and he points out it's like, oh, I'm writing the story really a lot while it's raining, and there's this one like during rainy season, and there's this one puddle that I keep looking out my window at while I'm writing. And so the puddle keeps appearing inside the story, and that's why the guy sort of starts realizing it is like this puddle keeps like this shape keeps fucking appearing all the fuck away around me. It's just the odd shape of the puddle. So it's just there's some cool poetic imagery in there that I like. So
I've never read Nabokov. I've heard very good things, but like I'm also just meta narrative is a real thin line to walk, and it gets
hmm
real wanky real quick.
yes.
I
I mean,
think my
Nabokov is a lot of his work is extremely meta. Like even Lolita, everyone knows Lolita for obvious reasons. But it is actually one of his more least meta books that he did. So,
like the my favorite approach to meta, yeah, and I know we're on a tangent, just
hmm
let me have it.
hmm
My favorite sort of meta take was from The Last Unicorn and
hmm
how that handles things. I don't know if you ever read the
I
book.
have not. I've seen the
Okay.
movie, but I have not read the book.
It's it is fairly meta, but not in the way that like the characters literally know that they're in a book. But the world in which it's set is a world in which fairy tales are just things that happen.
hmm
But people also tell those fairy tales. So it's meta in the sense that the characters who just exist here will realize, oh, I'm in this kind of story right now. I like, oh, I'm this stock character in this kind of story, not because they literally know they're in a book, but because that's their frame of reference.
Mm-hmm.
The
Mm-hmm.
way that, say, like a Joss Whedon character would make a casual reference to, being the Wesley Crusher in something or whatever, because
Yeah,
that's their
or
point
like
of
the
reference.
comic relief is here or whatever. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah,
These are people who their point of reference is fairy tales. So they're like, "Oh, you're the hero, aren't you?"
yeah. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I like the way that it balances it, because it never quite crosses that line into pleased with itself. Oh yes, my characters know they're in a work of it. No, they're just people living their lives, but that's their frame of reference. And so that's how they relate to the world in which they live, because that's just the way this world is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Well, back to the recap. We jump over to the base star, where we have all the Cylons talking, and Cavill points out again we have a standoff. Um,
And Cavill makes the best point of anybody, and it gets brushed aside completely. I
yes.
like him, and I hate that everybody ignores him.
Yep. Well, he points out it's like they may be bluffing, and we don't. And Baltar's like, "Well, you don't know if they're bluffing or not." And Cap is like, "Well, look, we have an opportunity right now to rid the universe of the human pestilence." And it need I remind you, and I'm assuming this is the point that you meant. It doesn't matter if we find Earth in 5 days or 5,000 years, where machines will still be around to savor the great miracle. So let's just destroy them now, and we'll find it when we get there. Um,
Yeah, that is exactly it. Like the we have the chance to rid the universe of the human pestilence. That line I don't care for, partly because the rest of the fleet jumped away, dude. Like, yes, you have the chance to get rid of Galactica, and without Galactica to defend them, yes, you can pick off the rest of the fleet. But like, don't act like you can just take everybody out right now. They're not here. But yeah, just his point that, like, we don't live on their time scale. We don't have to do this the way that they would do it. I'm like,
mhm.
yes. And then everybody just ignores it.
Well, I mean, that's Cavill's whole thing, right? He's the one that continually points out, like, we're machines. We don't, we don't need to be thinking on human terms. He's the one that kind of constantly goes, like, we are not human, so we don't have to be that way. So,
Yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah. But Deanna reveals like she has had a plan put in motion that when they jumped in with the four Cylon base stars, she also sent out a heavy raider to go to the planet, because it was probably the best time to do it without the Galactica noticing, and she was correct. Caprica 6 is upset at this by not being told, and and Baltar is also worried about this. But Deanna says to Cavill, is like, as soon as the Centurions get the eye on the planet, you can take out the Galactica. So there you go.
Yep.
We then see the Centurions on the algae planet, so we know they are there. And then we cut to Anders running the civilians. And he basically says, all right, we're going to hold this place until Galactica gets a rescue party. There's going to be two teams. One is going to be handing out ammunitions. The other is going to be making mines. I know you're scared. I'm scared too. If we keep our heads down and do our jobs, we'll get out of here in one piece. Sends them off to go do their plan. And Apollo sort of talks to Anders and basically, like, I think that was good. Honest, you'd make a good officer. And Anders, being pissy about it, is like, an officer like you who swears oaths and knows how to keep it. So clearly talking about, the fact that he knows Apollo and Starbuck are cheating. Apollo tries to duck that, but Aaron's like, don't insult me. I'm not stupid. I know my wife. You think you're the first. I chose to marry. This is what I'm assuming you're talking about mentioning earlier. I chose to marry her. That's my business, but I don't know what you're trying to do. So,
Yeah, this is the one thing about this entire romantic triangle, or God, quadrangle, I guess, because D's in this mix too. This is the one interesting fucking thing about any of this,
mm-hmm,
is not only the idea that he knows, but that he is telling Apollo to his face, you are not the first guy since I've been married to her, which I like for a number of reasons. First of all, take this shithead down a peg for
mm-hmm,
thinking like he's somehow special. Also, it contextualizes Starbuck a lot better, to
mm-hmm,
be honest, because part of what's been really infuriating about all this is, while I'm not going to say the show has been overtly romantic with a lot of their interactions, it has been portraying her with Apollo as messy, which it is, so fair enough. That doesn't make me not hate it, but it hasn't been overly romantic about it, but there just is innately the idea that if she keeps going back to the same guy, oh, that must be a truer form of love. I love this implication that comes with you're not the other guy, meaning it's not that she's specifically in love with you, it's that she does this.
Yeah, she's not good with monogamy.
Yeah. Like she has a recurrent pattern of behavior that you have slotted into, but you are not special.
Hmm.
That doesn't mean she doesn't care about him, but he is not special. And that helps in terms of my perspective on her because it makes it less about her pining or being weird about this one guy
Hmm.
than just being bad at relationships in the broadest possible sense. Cool,
Hmm.
much better. And also, as far as Sam goes, it's a little bit like kind of what we talked about with D with unfinished business. You know, it's a more interesting perspective for someone to be aware that a thing is happening and have some response other than straight up obviously he has jealousy, but he's also like, dude, I know what she's like. I married her and I knew this was part of the deal. I'll still be here. Will you kindly
Yeah.
piss off?
Yeah. Yeah, and yeah, I do like that putting Apollo down a peg. Like you're not special,
Yes.
you're not you like you're also like I'm aware and like I can handle that in our relationship. You're the one that's fucking things up with D. Like you're the one that gives a shit and like is like made a more like a vow that you're breaking with D.
Yeah.
Like I'm okay with her like maybe he's not okay with her doing this in a
He's
relationship,
not
but
okay with it, but like he knows what he
he
signed
accepts
up
it. He
for.
accepts it. Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. We then cut to what I'm assuming is going to be your favorite moment in the show. Well, we'll get there. We are have Deanna and Baltar with the hybrid. uh, and so Deanna and both are talking. Deanna's going like, "Oh, I'm on the verge of the final five, seeing the final five. I need to know." The hybrid says, "Sins will be revealed to those who enter the temple, only the chosen one," and then repeats the chosen one, the chosen one, the chosen one over and over and over again.
Like 10 fucking
To which
times,
I'm sure you were.
man.
I literally wrote in my notes, Vera loves it. I'm sure.
It's like an ice pick in my temple.
uh,
I hate the concept. I hate the narrative contrivance. I fucking hate the words. I hate the phrase. I
chosen one.
hate it. I hate it. I hate chosen ones. They're so fucking uninteresting. And the fact that the phrase pretty much always comes with the trope. You can't just do the trope. It always has to be said somewhere as if we're fucking idiots.
Mm,
God, I hate this.
yeah, yeah. Uh,
Though
well,
oddly,
mhm.
not the thing I'm going to hate most about this scene.
Oh, no, I'm sure not.
Mm.
I will at least give you some relief that like the chosen one aspect of this show is not leaned on too hard. So it's here, but it's not like it all becomes about one fucking chosen one at the end saving everybody. So I'll
Okay.
at least give you that. Anyways, Deanna says, I'm so close to knowing the truth, but then Caprica 6 overhears this. Um, and she's like, I thought we three were supposed to share everything. Like, what's going on here? And Baltar's like, I like the part where Baltar's like, yes, of course, we're integral together. And Deanna's like, no, we're finished. And basically, Deanna basically says that Baltar and I have a destiny that's separate from yours, Caprica. It's only supposed to be those who enter the temple. We have to go to the planet. And Deanna said, Six basically asked, what is the secret you keep pursuing? I love you both. And they say, we love you, or Deanna says, I love you too, but this isn't something we can share with you. And both is like, no, it's not personal. It's transcendent, like she says very awkwardly. And she says, Deanna says, pray for us, Caprica. We'll be praying for you. So,
I fucking hate this
mm-hmm,
so fucking much. Like oh my God. Look, if there was going to be like, I've hated this from the get-go.
mm-hmm,
Like Deanna and Baltar at all. I fucking hate it. But if you're going to do it, the very least you could have done was give me a dynamic between three people that is distinct from the usual, oh no, we must break it down to two. It can only be two. Like, this is the first time that any of these three have said the words I love you to any of the other of these three. And it's at the breakup point. Like, look, I hate that they're together, but you could have still given me a fucking polyamory story instead of reducing it back down to two fucking people almost immediately again.
Hmm.
God, fucking cis het monogamous straight men. Fuck off and stop writing.
Well, we then go back down to the planet, the algae planet, with D. Is sort of leading the ops. He's basically giving orders to Starbuck to fly recon. But obviously there's tension there because Starbuck's like, I've flown recon before, D, because D is being very talked down to Starbuck to a degree. Um, and they say
Mm-hmm.
we're gonna go in an hour. So.
Because everybody has to be a catty bitch now,
Yes.
including the guys.
Yep.
We.
Yep. Well, anyways, we are out watching Starbuck do recon with Dee at one of the three observation posts that were set up. She does spot the Cylons and then gets shot at by a rocket launcher. She relays the message to Dee that they're there, but she gets shot down and goes down.
Yep.
Then we go to Adama and Roslin. Adama comes in to Roslin's where Roslin is. He's in his office, but she's doing stuff in there. Um, and she's basically like, "Look, I've there's not a lot about the eye in the text, the religious text, but there's also." She says, "Look, listen to this. There's five pillars devoted to the five priests who are devoted to the one whose name cannot be said." And then she gets cut off there by Adama. So,
Mhm.
yep, some lore for you. Important lore.
It's vague prophecy bullshit, man. This doesn't count as lore. Like, I don't get, like, I was,
I will
this
say
is,
some of it will get very concrete.
I'm sure it will, but look, I've said far more places than just this podcast. I don't care about lore. I care about the story.
Mhm.
And this isn't even lore. This is vague lore shaped holes that lore will be slotted into at a later date.
Well, yeah, we'll get there. Anyways, Nama interrupts her and says, Laura, I have more concrete plot stuff to talk to you about now. And says, Boomer told Athena that Hera was alive. And Laura says, yes, the child is alive. It's true. Um, and Adama is upset at this. So we do get our answer because I know we had a debate about this
Yes,
earlier
about
on.
whether or not he
He
knew.
knew, and it's
Because
clear he did.
I didn't think he did.
Oh, I thought you said you did think you knew. Maybe
I
I'm misremembering.
questioned because I could not remember.
Hmm. Well, we had a debate about it at some point. I forget who said what at what point, but either way, we were debating whether or not he knew or not, and clearly he did not, because he just gets up and kind of walks out as she tries to make
Yep.
justifications about it. So
Hmm.
he clearly did not know. We then cut to him having told Athena and Hilo just after he's told them. And Hilo is basically like, do you have any idea what we've gone through? You of all people know what it's like to lose a child. And Adama says, well, the difference is your child is still alive. Eventually, I hope you become grateful of that. And Athena says, I want to see her.
Which is kind of a bullshit thing to tell to somebody.
Hmm.
Like, you should understand what it's like to lose a child. Like, yeah, well, your kidnapped child is alive, so be grateful. Like, fuck off, dude.
I think the point he's trying to make is like eventually I hope you become grateful of that. I think he's at least trying to say like trying to connect on some level like hey, at least your kid's alive, which is like
I get
like
it. Not the moment, dude.
for sure, for sure. But I think it's an awkward place for him. It's one of those weird things I almost wish we got and explored this dynamic a little bit more because it's one of those like he he didn't know. So it's not totally on him, and yet he probably understands their anger at him because he like he should have known, and he feels he should have known. Whether or not he did or not, and whether or not he would have even had the option to know, he feels like he a responsibility to have known. And I like that's an interesting dynamic of like him blaming himself, then blaming him, and it's not even any of their fault really. But we don't really explore that, sadly. So,
Nope, not really.
um, anyways, Anders on the planet goes to confront Apollo. She's like, basically, he's upset about the fact that like Starbuck went down, and Apollo's like, we can't risk anybody to go after her, and Anders like, no, we definitely have to, and he basically says, are you out of your mind that we have to hold our positions? So.
Yep, because it is necessary to have as many standoffs as possible going on as we head into the cliffhanger.
Speaking of which, we get into the final little moment of the episode where we basically have all of these standoffs kind of going off at once, where the Cylons send 6 heavy raiders down to the planet because Deanna is heading down there to find the eye. Adama comes out and basically goes like, they are testing us to see if we're bluffing, and Rosalind's like, well, I guess too bad we are bluffing, and Adama's like, well, are we? And he's basically orders all the nukes to be set on the planet, and basically seems like he's going to shoot them off. He's like, you have the release of nuclear weapons is now authorized, is how the episode officially ends, and we're going to be cutting between a bunch of different standoffs here. And then the other standoff that gets going here is that Anders basically says, I'm going to go out and find my wife. And one of Apollo's officers, she pulls a gun on Anders and says, and he basically said, I need you here to lead these civilians. I can't let you go and find her. So that's all the other ones. And then we also get a little cut, like touch-ins with like the chief is still looking for the eye. He's like, where is that fracking eye? So he's looking for the eye. And the base star, the silence of the base star, sort of believe that Adama's bluffing, but they're not entirely sure. So that's the end of the episode.
Well, I don't know if he's bluffing. I do know it won't happen.
You don't know. We're gonna kill them all. The chief, Starbuck, Apollo, and Anders. Tyrrell, D. They're all gonna die.
Yep, I'm sure.
Yeah.
That's one of the there is an art to cliffhangers, and this is not just a Battlestar Galactica thing.
Oh yeah.
But like so many cliffhangers to me hold no weight because they threaten something that I know the show will never do. For a cliffhanger to work, in my mind, the best cliffhangers are one of two things. Either you threaten something that is actually plausible you could do, which means you don't blow up the stakes so huge that it's like, well, they just never do that. Or you don't have the cliffhanger in the sense of like an immediate threat, somebody's about to die, but you have just revealed something that leaves the audience going, well, what the fuck happens now?
Yes, though that's the one I usually typically like. So.
That is generally the best kind of cliffhanger where it's like, it's not an immediate threat that's going to be resolved in the first 5 minutes of the new episode, but it's just a massive complication that you're like, I don't even know what happens next. Those are the best ones.
Yeah.
This, not great.
And sometimes they can work, this type of thing can work well. I think probably one of the best ones, and it kind of goes to your point, which is the Next Generation, Star Trek The Next Generation Best of Both Worlds, where Riker fires on Picard. Because it is just Picard as the Borg. It is just Picard, and there were talks of like Patrick Stewart leaving the show, sort of thing. So like it's a presumably a stake that could actually, you think it could actually be fulfilled. That's basically what it ultimately is. Even though when we come back from that cliffhanger, it ultimately amounts to nope, the thing didn't work. But it is an interesting cliffhanger in that sense.
Yeah.
So, yeah. I will do a spoiler minute. So for
it's been a while.
I know, but this one does behoove a few of them. So for the next 60 seconds, right? 60 seconds on the clock is what I get.
Yes.
Right? It's been so long. I'm like, is it 30 seconds or 60 seconds? I forget. For the next 60 seconds, I can
trim it to 30.
I probably only need 30 for this one, but we'll go with 60. Give me 60 seconds on the clock, Vera, and if you don't want spoilers yourself, listeners, you can skip ahead 60 seconds.
And go.
So, just the big thing that I was alluding to earlier is the fact that the Eye of Jupiter matches the painting that Starbuck had in her apartment. I pointed it out to Vera because I did at the time of that episode when we were in Starbuck's apartment mention to Vera the painting and that she should clock it, which she seemed annoyed by at the time. But I did point it out to her, so she is aware of it. We will obviously, I think, at the end of next episode, I think it gets pointed out to Starbuck that the picture of the eye and her painting are the same thing. Now, I always thought this was cool when I was a kid. I am obviously going to be a much more cynical person now, and Vera, I think, is going to fucking hate it. But I will point out, I always thought it was the coolest shit when I was a kid. It's one of those weird things where, like, I look at some of these things now and I'm like, oh yeah, I know where it goes, and I know it goes somewhere frustrating sometimes, but it is also like, man, I'm a little bit more cynical now as an adult. I've seen some of these cliffhangers, and I'm less like, whoo, very excited about. I'm curious to see how
I'm
the other cliffhanger that we know is coming will land
Oh,
for
great.
Vera.
More cliffhangers. Terrific.
Mm-hmm. In the next season and a half, yes, that we have of this show. So, all right. Well, I think I already have an idea, but what did you think? Yeah.
Look, there's a couple of decent moments. Cavill has a little bit that I like. There's the stuff, the thing with Anders that I like. Baltar is the perfect kind of little weasel shit
Yeah.
that he is at his best.
That's about
And
it.
no, the like the little moments with Taro referencing his faith growing up and how it makes him really conflicted with what's going on now. That's pretty
Mhm.
solid. And the rest fucking sucks.
Don't disagree. Yeah, the rest of this was very bleh in my book. So there are some big things I think coming up next episode that I remember very distinctly and I remember being excited about, but we'll see if that how that lands in memory versus reality. So,
Hmm.
but next week is a big episode for a few reasons, so we'll get there when we get there. But I don't have any other opinions than you. This sucked. It's all love triangle bullshit and nonsense that I don't really like. So, yeah.
Yep.
Alrighty. Anything else, Vera?
Not really.
Stuff time it is then.
Stuff. Well, you can find my stuff by looking for Council of Geeks. Patreon pays the bills. The main thing that funds is my YouTube channel. New videos every Saturday. If I've got the timing right, unless something has changed, then the most recent video should be my ranking of every episode of Game Changer from Dropout.
Oh, that's fun.
Um, and if not, then it'll be a different thing, and that'll come later. There's also the Break Room of Geeks with less structured, more free flowing stuff, where I post whatever my thoughts are on whatever I have seen, watched. Those are the same things: seen, listened to,
More
read, or
played.
played
Yeah.
lately. Um, so that is the geeky stuff. You can also find Council of Geeks on Blue Sky. And then, of course, that brings us to the spicy stuff.
Spicy stuff. Woo!
And
Woo!
if you're done firing your pistols
Woo!
in the air, I see you waiting. Are you going to behave?
No.
Are you going to behave?
No.
Okay. And unfortunately, I didn't know about this sooner, but the weekend just before you'll have heard this, I had a burlesque show that I
Oh.
performed in. I did a country number
Oh, that's fun.
of all
That
things.
is fun.
Unfortunately, if I'd known that they were booking me for it sooner, I would have given a heads up. Alas, alas. That having been said, February 14th, Main Street Landing in Burlington, Vermont, I will be hosting the Green Mountain Cabaret show.
Oh, fun. Well, excited for you there. Well, you can find me at Jesse Gender on YouTube where I do video essay style of stuff. I shall have my Ferengi video out fairly soon if it's not already out by the time you listen to this. Just Ginger After Dark where I do news, reviews, reactions. I will be reviewing Star Trek Starfleet Academy over there by this point, so check that out. I am also on Nebulous, the streaming service that houses my movie Identities, as well as the upcoming show Subliminal that'll be coming out later this year that I directed an episode of. I am also on Patreon. That helps me pay my bills, so please support me over there if you can. And I'm also on Blue Sky and Instagram. You can follow me there. Anything else, Vera?
Nah,
Then, with all that said, I hope y'all live long and prosper.
be seeing you.
Huzzah.